Hello, welcome to Nonprofits for the Future, the Roadmap to New Funding Sources. I'm Drew Hackman, and you're in Module 2. In this section, I will discuss how to do an effective SWOT analysis. Before continuing, you should have at least completed the following. It'll be super helpful as we go through this section. The Nonprofit Organization Overview and the Nonprofit Mission Deep Dive. It may also help to have completed the nonprofit asset chart. All of these three will become essential when doing the SWOT analysis. Finally, be sure to download and print the SWOT analysis worksheet because it will be really helpful to go through the worksheet as we go through this section. So after you have listed your goals and your present revenue sources, you'll also need to assess your potential for generating revenue by using a tool called the SWOT analysis to identify your organization's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, SWOT. So if this is a new phrase for you, let's go over a quick definition. If you're already familiar with it, it's also good to remind yourself what it is so you have a baseline. So SWOT analysis is often used to assist in strategic planning processes, and it enables organizations to do a snapshot assessment of their resource strengths and weaknesses, as well as evaluate the opportunities and threats around them. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the result of a well-done SWOT analysis is a refined set of statements about your organization that will help you target your focus in generating more revenue. It's often really beneficial to involve board leadership and senior staff in the SWOT analysis process if they're not already, for two reasons. One, you get more heads in the room, which means more ideas, and it helps ensure that you don't miss anything. And two, the results often generate some really valuable discussions that help the direction and focus of the organization, which will aid in targeting your focus on generating more revenue. So ultimately, you'll have better strategy discussions. You will have an honest and true evaluation of your organization. And finally, you'll uncover new directions for the organization. So those are the hopeful outcomes that we will have as a result. All right, so let's dive in. And as you go through these, answer the questions in each of the 4 SWOT areas on the worksheet with several brief statements. Later, we'll combine them to gear you towards strategy. At any point, obviously, since this is a video at your own pace, feel free to pause, absorb the information, and write things down. Hopefully, you're able to go through the worksheets as you watch the video. So first, let's do strengths. Strengths are at the cross-section of helpful and internal. Each of the 4 of these fall into a quadrant of helpful, hurtful, internal, and external. So strengths are helpful and internal. So write down everything your organization has done well internally and consider the following. So what are your unique skills? What expert or specialized knowledge do you have? What experience do you have? What do you do better than your competitors, which is a really important one? And either nonprofit competitors or for-profit competitors. Sometimes a competitor could be the government itself if you compete for the same resources. Really try not to be modest when reviewing your organization's strengths. Do be realistic, though, and think about your resource strengths in relation to other nonprofit organizations in your service area, as well as those competitors. And consider the following questions as well. With that in mind, what financial resources do you have? Could be cash, people, expertise, etc. And then of all your funding sources, which ones do the best? Is it fundraising? Is it your grant writing? Is it getting that government funding? Or is it another earned income stream? And why? Why do you think it does the best? And finally, I like this one. What would your constituents see as your resource strengths? So it's kind of like when you're writing your resume and you don't know how to brag about yourself. If you gave it to somebody else and said, here, friends, brag about me because I can't do it myself, that's what this one is. You can even ask them if you want, but try to be realistic and really just say, you know what, if I ask my constituents what we do best, what would they say? Could be influential or helpful to ask them personally. Okay, so if you have to pause and take a minute, that was a lot to go over, write those down. I'm going to keep moving. At each time, I'm going to expect that if you need to pause, that you'll pause. So I'm just going to keep going through this. So weaknesses. Weaknesses are at that cross section of harmful and internal. So these are things inside your organization that maybe you don't do so well. Write down everything in your organization that needs improvement, and consider the following. What are the areas for improvement? What resources do you lack? Where do you need further education and or experience? And this one is pretty important. Where do you waste time, money, or resources? Really important to think about that waste, because that's low-hanging fruit. That's stuff you can eliminate right away. When identifying your organization's weaknesses, also take a hard look at your results over the past several quarters, seasons, or years. Most organizations will have several activities that are working well, some that are marginal, and a few that are poor. So consider the following questions. Are you underutilizing your board, your community relations, your budget development, or your reputation or your staff? And what would it look like to fully leverage them? Moving on to opportunities. Opportunities are at the cross section of helpful and external. Things that could be very beneficial, but they come from the outside. Write down any doors that can be opened and consider, what are your goals? How can you do more for your beneficiaries? How can technology enhance your organization? Is there a new app that came out? Is there a special skill that you have that is within your organization, an individual? Maybe they have coding skills. Maybe they've written apps before. Maybe it's not an app at all. Maybe it's just social media. Think about tons of ways that technology might be able to enhance your organization. Could be something physical as well. Technological advancement that's something physical. Technology could be a bicycle. Things to think about. Are there new target audiences that you have the potential to reach? Thinking about those open doors. Is there someone that you're not targeting that you should? This one's always interesting because you don't want to spread yourself too thin and go after markets that aren't in your wheelhouse, but notice the word target audiences. Staying focused to your mission and staying focused on people that would resonate with your cause. Are there new target audiences that you have the potential to reach? People that maybe you know are there and are interested, but you haven't really spent the time or resources to explore it. So opportunities can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, from unexpected places and people. It might occur in a report or a study that features your organization or an area of service. Maybe someone did a case study article about you. Maybe someone just wrote something about you in the local newspaper or an online periodical. It might appear during a season of change. So maybe in leadership, strategic direction, the financial health at a competitor organization. Maybe they're not doing so hot. That's an opportunity for you as well. The advent of a new technology that comes out. So stay abreast with all the new information and technology that's coming out in your service field, in your service area. Maybe the offer of a building. Maybe someone has offered to donate, maybe a corporate partnership, or someone in the community has wanted to offer space because they believe in what you're doing. Maybe there's been a sharp reduction in land costs and you can explore it yourself. So be open to revisiting an old opportunity as well that was maybe rejected previously, but now is worth considering because of a change in the landscape or something, again, internal, maybe strategic direction or leadership has changed. So revisit those old ones, those old dusty files. Dust them off, take a look, and see if there's something in there that didn't make sense at the time, but it does now. And so consider the following questions as well. Have you been invited to partner with another organization? Maybe this was evaluated in the past in terms of risk and potential reward, and maybe it wasn't there, but maybe now it is. Do that reevaluation and look at that risk-reward potential. See if it's there. What about new activities that might take a leap of faith and action to undertake, but they're options? Doors that are open, doors that are open. What are the interesting, notable, or current trends in your field or in your service area? This one can always be something, again, this is external, but something that you can start to go after because of either a political or economic or government change that is in your benefit, perhaps. Maybe there's been a new article that comes out by Harvard, by Stanford, by someone in the field that people look to, and they are they look to them for advice, or they look to them as an expert in the field, and they came out with something just yesterday. And now people are starting to change the paradigm of how they view things. These are all really important, and it could come in the form of an opportunity.